position where he would be very likely to win the match or the game.
I still like holding it and going face. I'm just saying, I'm putting that out there, but ShtanUdachi probably does know better than me. He is a very good Malygos rogue player, as you said. But speaking of Malygos, we are going to see a hell of a lot more of that card coming up with the Druid mirror coming up here. But ShtanUdachi is playing the modern tech, the this week's tech of the Jungle Moonkin Curator version of this deck.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that version on the ladder recently, and it looks like ShtanUdachi has also picked up on it. I believe there's only one Jungle Moonkin in this particular list. And about this deck, like, I wanted to point out that RDU is playing Malygos Druid, but he is not playing York Druid. There is no Yorksaron in RDU's Druid list, so that will not be happening. He has replaced it with Ragnar's the Phylod. Other than that, the list looks fairly standard, but RDU has made the call that, okay, Yorksaron is a little bit worse now after the changes that happened earlier this week. ShtanUdachi still sticking with it.
Yep. ShtanUdachi sticking to the Yogg guns here. Yogg is still a part of this new list that a lot of people have been playing to High Legend recently with the addition of the Jungle Moonkin. And with the Curator in the deck, of course, you now have the Dragons in the form of Azure Drake and Malygos. And now you also have a Beast as well to give you that chance of drawing 2 with Curator. And anytime Curator draws 2, it's an incredibly powerful card.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool deck, in my opinion, to be running the Curator. It fits very well in that. Also, having that extra taunt is very helpful in some matchups, buying more time to get to those even stronger turns. Also, with the help of cards like an Innervate, Nourish, and Wild Growth, you can get to the 4/6 taunt even faster than other decks could. And speaking of Curator, there it is.
There he is. And it looks like ShtanUdachi is going to go for the Innervate Nourish here. And this is actually one of the trickier decisions that I've seen with a Nourish. But having now drawn the Curator, that has a really strong chance of drawing you 2 if you get to it within the next couple of turns. So I definitely don't mind the ramp Nourish here at all.
I think he should definitely get the mana here. With a hand like this, it's so important. And getting the mana is quite often kind of the play to win in the mirror matchup. I really don't like the Innervate into the draw this early on. On turn 3, when you do it for mana, there's just like so many turns remaining where you get the benefit from it. Yes, there is that risk that you will end up drawing spell after spell and no card draw, and then kind of getting exhausted on the resources. But that Curator is a solid, kind of like a solid card to make sure that he won't be completely out of place.
Yeah, I mean, as a general rule with Nourish, you know, take a look at your hand and look at how much mana you can spend on just proactive, non-situational plays, right? And right now, Shtan has the Arcane Giant and the Curator available to him, so that's, you know, depending on the Giant cost, you know, 13 to 14 mana he can spend over the next couple of turns, so ramping for the mana there definitely seems appropriate, but living roots off the top, not what he needed.
That's the downside of going for the mana. Even though he had the extra mana, he was not able to use it, and those 3 extra draws that he could have potentially gotten from the Nourish would have secured a strong play there on turn 5.
There he is. There's the Jungle Moonkin. Cannot wait. This is a dangerous matchup to play Moonkin on the board, though. You better be damn sure you are getting enough of an advantage out of it for it to be worth it, because you can be pretty sure the other Druid can take advantage of it too.
Yeah, it's like, you know that the other Druid is playing exactly the same stuff as you are when it comes to spells, so all the benefits that you get from it, your opponent will also be able to get. And things like just Rot for 3 and draw a card on the Moonkin. It's just the Moonkin won't get all that much value.
I mean, this is just the tech choice in the mirror, right? It's like, why would I play Moonkin? I'll just take advantage of my opponent's Moonkin. Like, that seems fine to me.
Yeah, I feel like the biggest upside of the Jungle Moonkin is not really in this matchup. It's more like against decks such as Zoo Warlock, just getting that powerful swipe. And all the benefits from those spells against decks that can't really benefit so much from it, but oof, that's a rough-looking Ravenal right there. None of these cards look too good. I guess Innervate is fine. Power of the Wild, well, he does have a Living Roots in his hand, so he could buff multiple minions if he wanted to go for something like Living Roots and then Power of the Wild buff. But this is not a token version of the Druid, so Power of the Wild not as strong as it would be with the token variant.
Yeah, Innovate, little suspect as well. You know, he's used one Nourish already, which is one of the tools that can potentially allow you to get value out of Innovate in the late game when you spend so much mana on drawing cards. But I agree, it is kind of just the best of a fairly mediocre bunch of cards there from Shtan. So it does allow him to just play out the Arcane Giant here as well. And he's going to, of course, hold back the Living Roots. No need to play into things like Swipe right now. And also Living Roots, just such a huge win condition for him when Malygos is in the deck.
Oh, we have a big turn from RDU. He has all the answers in the world for this. He has the mulch for the Giant if he wants to do so. He also had a spell power minion in the Azure Drake to survive. So cards such as Wrath, Living Roots, Swipe. He has all the burn. So he could use those spell powers very effectively. He also has a Fundral and an Innervate to go with it. Maybe he doesn't need the Innervate, but he has the Fundral and the Wrath, so that's also something to think about. So Fundral Wrath alone would be deal 5 damage and draw a card.
Is there any way he can get an efficient board clear here and play an Arcane Giant? Anytime you have Giant and Innovate in your hand, you kind of have to look at these things, because Innovate is essentially 3 mana's worth of ramp alongside an Arcane Giant. So assuming he's spending 3 on the mulch straight away, that takes the Arcane Giant down to 8. And at that point, the Innovate would only take him back up to 5. So yeah, it seems unlikely that's going to happen.
If he innovated, he could only play the Living Roots as another spell to be able to get that out. Really interested to see where he's going with this. Oh, that's very conservative line of play. I was expecting maybe to see something a little bit more aggressive, but yeah, I think it's completely fine.
Yeah, I think RDU is just looking at his hand, right, and thinking that he can afford to play relatively slowly here for a turn or two, and then if he needs to clear one more time, his next turn is so much swingier if he's able to develop that Arcane Giant at the same time as well, as he gets more mana available to him.
Ooh, so here's the Jungle Moonkin. Getting a really strong clear with it. He knew what he... ShtanUdachi there, very fast turn. RDU roping in on his previous turn, but ShtanUdachi just like instantly goes for the Moonkin, gets a 6 damage swipe, and with the hero power is able to clean the board. But this is the backswing of the Jungle Moonkin right here.
That is a 4 damage Moonfire if he wants it.
Oh my goodness.
Right
or
there.
Or just 4 damage Wrath and draw a card.
Yep.
So as powerful as the Moonkin was last, and now RDU also reaping the benefits of this spell power.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we talked about. Very dangerous card in the mirror, but honestly, it's not terrible for Shtan. He was a long way behind on that board. He used the spell damage to catch him up in tempo for 1 turn. RDU didn't have an explosive turn. He had a very high value turn, but value is something that Shtan is equipped to deal with right now. He could not deal with how far behind he was on the board.
Yeah. RDU still with that Innervate. It's been in his hand for such a long time, and now the board is turning a little bit against him, but this is looking like such a sweet Fundral turn. Oh, and even that. So Fundral, Wrath, Living Roots, Raven. Oh my.
Yup. I think this is what the kids refer to as going off, Savits. It's time to just get in there nice and deep.
I don't know, like if Fundral doesn't get too much better than this. If he finds like a second Innervate or something. Shifter Zeros, please.
Second Fundral!
I mean, that's the best pick. I just wanted to see the Shifter, but I mean, he obviously wants to win, so I like the Fundral because of that.
People that like winning don't pick Shifter Zeros. No. Confirmed by Savits. That is a quote I'm taking to the bank.
Yeah, it's a little bit optimistic, because yeah, you could get the best possible minion next turn from it, but there's also quite a few low-value minions, so it might take the Shifter Zeros 10 turns before you get something useful.
So he can innovate Moonfire for no reason and play a Arcane Giant here, and yeah, that looks like exactly what RDU is doing. Great manipulation of the mana this turn from RDU just to make the strongest board possible. Loads up 2 threats. ShtanUdachi again with the snap call on the mulch. The 8/8 takes care of the Fandral as well, but now the value deficit that RDU's turn against the Moonkin brought him with the double card draw from the Drake and the Wrath. Now that deficit is really starting to pay dividends alongside that huge Fandral turn that he had as well. Yeah,
ShtanUdachi playing so fast. Like if RDU is a smart player, I don't really like this because ShtanUdachi is giving it away that he doesn't have something like a Yogg in his hand by making this this play. So I think he should take his time, even if the plays are very obvious. Because if he had a Yogg in his hand, he certainly would have at least considered it. So, oh, this is like waving the white flag right here with Moonfire. I
think just from the mental side of the game as well, it might be in RDU's interest to try and break up the pace of this, because Shtan is obviously wanting to play very quickly. It's to make himself feel comfortable. Maybe a bit of nerves on his side. So RDU, as the experienced player, could definitely try and slow the pace, but no reason to slow down right now. Just lethal with the double swipe, and RDU comes back from the first game deficit to now take a 2-1 lead.